Welcome to the coaching circle. Before you are the smiling faces of a group of wonderful, powerful feminine energy coaches, and we are here today to discuss a topic. How it works is that this is not scripted. We just talk from our hearts, from our souls, and we hope that you shall get something out of this. Today, we were starting a conversation just about how to be compassionate to yourself. We in life often go through life very speedily. Let me speak about myself. Life can be for me very high paced, and then things go wrong, and I'm always blaming myself. You shouldn't have, you couldn't have, you wouldn't have. Why did you? How to turn that voice into a nicer voice? Who has something to say about that?
Maybe it's kind of like thinking, oh, I have a human that I've got to protect and bring through this life. My responsibility is for that human. And so would you be angry at your child, or would you be angry at your best friend, like if they did something? Or would you be like, oh no, this is your first time through life, and so you can only do the best that you can do, kind of thing. And the more that you can bring that energy to yourself, then the easier things will get. And also you can't get better from a place of putting yourself down. It has to be coming from a place of strength and a place of like a good place, like a place of love. You can only build on love, I think. So.
Oh, that's really, really beautiful. Yeah, Lindsay, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a therapist once that used to say that I should always have my inner baby monitor turned on. And like if I was, and she would pose the question, how would you respond to your children if they came to you with the same issue? Would you talk to them that way? So when she said that, always have your baby monitor turned on, it's like, wow, like listening for the pain of your child and being passionate and bringing that compassion. So it helped me discern that sometimes that judgmental voice that comes up is really just the wounded part of myself that was there trying to survive. So it's like, wow, bless your heart. Like, I understand you have very good reasons for feeling that way because you're trying to protect me from getting hurt. And then I have this loving adult that is what has kind of been brought forth by learning how to handle situations like a parent would. So I'm trying to strengthen that muscle rather than strengthening the wounded part of myself. And the more that I have boundaries for myself or compassion, then this inner parent is able to advocate for me. And what happens is I get that peace and that acceptance and love that I have been searching for all my life from other people. So it's something that happens very slowly, but I can feel that it's really happening. You just have to keep at it and stay very patient, because it is not easy to learn how to parent, because none of us really had great examples of that, or perfect examples, I should say.
You touched on something so beautiful, and just to mention it before I pass on to you, Gubi, this aspect of learning that there are things that trigger us, things that are from our past that then come back up, and then in these voices that we're hearing in our heads, in the criticism, the internal critic, the things that they are telling us are oftentimes things that we picked up in our past. And how to recognize that as we live our lives is something that's also a little critical. Yeah. Go ahead, Kubi.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wanted to say we can think like, what would I suggest to my daughter to do in this context? Or what would I suggest my client to do? I want to share an example. So this week I've been in quite an intense situation, and I have to make a decision, and the few people I asked, everybody tells something different, and I was caught up in the anxiety, I was caught up in my head, and suddenly I caught myself. Like, what does my gut say? This is not, the situation is not right. And I realized, okay, what would the ideal situation be? Imagine the ideal situation. It didn't work at first, but by now it works. So just training yourself to not stay stuck in the fear, to not stay stuck in the head, and imagine the good outcome, because my energy does matter how I go into this situation. So, and it cannot, if it doesn't happen immediately, it can happen over time. So it's been quite, I mean, it's been a very intense experiment. And I feel I'm like being tested if I can practice what I preach, practice what I learn, even when it gets difficult.
And to touch up on that, Gooby, and all you girls that already talked, I feel like when we are holding space for ourselves, we're allowing all the fears, anxieties, frustrations to come up like a parent, like a healthy parent would do for their kid. And if we didn't get that, we're able to now do that for ourselves. And it's scary at first, I feel, because now we're feeling feelings or feeling fears and whatnot. But after a while, I feel like you build such trust with yourself that you are able to hold yourself even through the toughest of times. And then later, I think when we get to know ourselves a little bit more, we get to show up for ourselves in the love languages that are important to us. Like if, physical touch is important, like we'll probably hug ourselves more. If words of affirmations are important, we'll probably say those things to make us feel, better, more connected. If quality time is important, maybe taking ourselves out on like a day, do whatever we want to do. And I feel like that, having that introspection and really showing up for ourselves in that way, we're able to show up for others in a more loving way and not put the burden on them to emotionally dump on them and put all our traumas on them. It's like we're growing, and through that growth we can see other people and their growth and have more compassion for them and understand that everyone's doing the best that they can with what they knew, because if they knew better, they would have done better.
Beautiful. I have an example, if I may. Fairly recently, was in a situation that was in a mix of the two. I was in a cab. It was an Uber. The guy was driving way too fast. And I was seated in the back asking myself, should I say something? Can I say something? Is it polite? I'm almost there. Daddy, da, what should I do? Whole conversation. Instead of enjoying my ride home, that's what was going on in my head. Then he jumped over a bump, that jostled me up. And I heard my voice coming from me, my mouth opened, and someone said, slow down. And I was like, wow, as in it was me, yes, fine, but it was such a, for me, it was almost like it was a part of me that had stood up and decided to take center stage on my behalf. Is this completely weird, or do any of you have a similar kind of experience to share?
I think that's like, certain situations, it's like I'm having that inner dialogue, but then there are situations where I will just, like, there is no question I'm going to speak my truth. And those are the things that are really important. Like with my children, if something is going to like I am there, I am actively speaking in my, that adult voice, like setting limits. So it's interesting. It's like some things I'm very shy, and then other things it's like, boom, I could care less what anyone thinks. I'm going to say it. I guess it just depends on like how important is it. Like safety clearly is a priority for that voice.
Great.
It's about picking which battles we fight. Like, is it this is important, I need to make a point, or let's just let it go. We don't want to waste unnecessary energy on certain other things.
My ex-mother-in-law used to say, is this a ditch you want to die in? Picking your battles. And I always love that saying, because it's like, sometimes we can be like, take the high road. We don't really have to say it because we can work it out ourselves. And then other times it's like, no, I need to say something.
Great. Any last thoughts from anyone?
I wanted to say, like, the back and forth in the head, that's when we're too much in the head and overthinking. And sometimes I know when I'm I know that's like my ego saying like, oh, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not making a place for my head anymore. Like I have to drop into my body, listen to my intuition, because I feel like my intuition is like my inner spirit, my inner guidance, and that is my truth. And I've been practicing more and more of that now and trying to not be in my head so much. And when I'm in my body more and my listening to my inner spirit, my inner guidance, I don't think. I just do. I just be like I'm just following my truth. So I would just use that as a if you want to try that out, just to kind of feel more like you're following what's right for you rather than being stuck in your head.
And I want to add to that, I think it's important, like who do you surround yourself with? Coming back to the example where I got for short moments stuck in the anxiety, like it's good now that I talk with you guys or with people. Eventually, I didn't stay there. But if all the people you talk to are just about full in anxiety, they in panic, they in letting life control them mode, it can influence you. You have to be extra strong. Whereas if you're with people who see things more as they are, who know that the thoughts influence what happens, who know all those stuff, it will be a different outcome. So that's another important point linked to this.
Yes, and dropping into your body, like when I drop into my body, I'm more sensitive to people's energy because I'm in my feeling place, and so I know immediately when something's not healthy or good for me, or somebody has energy that I need to protect myself from. When I'm in my head, it's not so clear.
I think like the more that you go on that journey of like self-love and being compassionate to yourself, then the less things you're going to take from other people, like the less of those situations you'll just say it straight away, and the less you'll be around those people as well that are like not the right people for you to be around.
Yeah, you can just take a look at somebody or just sense their vibe and you're like, oh heck no. Danger. Go the opposite way. And then other people you're just like, I don't know why, but I get a sense like you're good and you're a good
like
vibe. So
life-giving energy.
You know,
people that's like, oh yeah, you feel refreshed, and then other people you feel like you need a nap.
You feel so drained after. Yeah, so trust in your vibes on that. I mean, vibes, intuition, inner guidance, like that's like all the same language. It's a felt experience. It's a sensing thing. It's not a logical, it's not a up in the head type of experience.
Great, ladies. Thank you so much for your time today. This was a great session. We hope that all you who have watched it have enjoyed it. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.